y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch Homestead Happenings. I'm Susan. This is our podcast number 26. What if you lost half your income? There's a coffee bar set up over in the corner with coffee, tea, and hot chocolate. So, y'all go grab something warm to drink, settle into your comfy chair with a nice soft blanket, and let's get into the program. What if you lost your income or lost half your income? What would you do first? What if you found yourself without an income at all? What would you do? For years, most Americans have had to work two jobs just to make ends meet. It could be one source of income, the husband or wife going to work, working two jobs, the other spouse staying home. The other spouse may have a job inside the home. Whatever your situation is, you know what I'm talking about. We lost half our income, and then we lost all our income in a very short amount of time, and I'll explain that to you in a little bit. We have come out of that, but we are facing some financial stress right now, and I thought this is the perfect time to bring this up. Let's say that you don't qualify for public assistance, food stamps. Or maybe the food pantry will only provide 1 to 2 days worth of meals, and then you have to wait another 1 to 2 months to go back, and you have no food coming into your household. Or maybe the company that you work for closed its doors suddenly. You had no idea that it was coming, or you have a medical condition that caused you to suddenly not be able to go back to work. Very real and very scary situations. Back around 2007, 2008, I lost my job to health issues. My husband's income was all we had to make ends meet, and we already had 5 people in our household. We were caring for his mom and dad, and one of my daughters was still living at home at the time. That's 5 mouths to feed. I didn't think about it back then, but that's what it is today. When I'm thinking back, that's what I'm looking at. And then one of his sisters and her husband and 3 children showed up at our doorstep one night. They had lost their home and jobs and had nowhere to go, and we took them in. We took them in out of love, and we took them in because that's what a good Christian would do. So we added 5 more mouths to feed, and we were bulging at the seams in our little home, which was okay. At the time, my husband was the only one with a job. We had food stamps for 2 or 3. I can't remember if my daughter was on there with us or not, but that was all the food stamps that we had at the time because I had lost my income and we fell into that low income poverty level that food stamps would supply some food to our home. We didn't get any money out of it, because we didn't have small children. That's a whole different program through the assistance program that the government provides. So we were taking that amount of food stamps and stretching it to feed 10 people, basically. Back then, the grocery stores would double and triple coupons, so we did a lot of coupon clipping. And we would go on the day that they had the triple coupons, and we would rack up on groceries. We knew how to stretch meals. We already had a garden. We already had chickens. We had, I think, about 20 chickens, all hens in the city. We called them city hens. And I was already fighting for my life with unknown health issues, even though I didn't know it at the time. My husband is a hustler and knows how to find money. Let me tell you. But before I go there, I want to tell you right now, none of this would have happened if we didn't believe that God provides every one of our needs. We never took for granted that without God's guidance, we wouldn't have been able to survive all of this. So he did side hustles. He would go out and he would collect cardboard, scrap metal, pallets, and he would pick up any items off the side of the road, household items, tools, and things like that, that we could resell. We literally had yard sales and sold other people's trash, being honest. Now, some places won't allow you to do weekly yard sales. So be aware of that. In some places, you have to have permits to do a yard sale. And so we had to be vigilant, pardon my stumbling over the words, to be able to do what we did. So he would bring home things. I would immediately price them, get them ready for a yard sale, and get them into an area for the yard sale. He sorted. I couldn't tell you. He sorted through everything. He knew how to do scrap metals. He knew how to collect cardboard. And our little pickup truck at the time would come home just stacked to the ceiling over the roof of the cab with cardboard and pallets and things like that to make ends meet. As a matter of fact, that's how we got through many Christmases, was from his scrapping all these different items. We already had a garden. It was a 4,000 square foot garden in our backyard. And that garden provided enough fresh vegetables that we actually fed our neighbors too. We begged for help with the utilities because the city of Memphis at that time, our utility bill was $400 a month, and our income wasn't covering it. Mainly because we had so many people living in the household, and they had put a smart meter on our home that was overheating and causing our utility bills to jump. Having 10 people in the house uses a lot of electricity and water. We never complained about any of this to the family that needed help. My sister-in-law helped me with the cooking and cleaning, and my father-in-law, bless his heart, loved to sweep and mop, so our floors were always clean, and that really helped out. Of course, my daughter would get in there and cook too, and the kids just did what kids did. We didn't want any of the kids to really feel like they had to do chores or anything like that. But everyone had the responsibility of doing their own laundry, and that was pretty much scheduled. And I'm going to stop right here and let you know that this may go on for a while because I have a lot of information to give you throughout this. So if you need to stop the video and come back, please do that, or you can listen in the background. That's what a podcast is all about. We had a mortgage to pay. We had just bought the house, purchased the house prior to me getting sick, and prior to the cash for Clunkers causing my husband's job to stop without any kind of notice. So we went from half income to literally no income within a few months' time. We had a mortgage to pay. We had utilities to pay, a phone bill, internet bill, cable bill, car insurance, and we had no health insurance at that time. We also had homeowners insurance for a brief time. So we wrote down a list of all of our bills, how much each of them were and when they were due, and began cutting anything that was unnecessary. We made payment plans where we could to keep the wolves from our doors. Then my foster dad got bad news and found out he had cancer. My foster sister and her husband both worked, and so did their sons, so we kind of fell into the part of taking him to and from his doctor's appointments and treatments, and so did my daughters. And so my husband and my daughters were taking him back and forth, and I was kind of holding the fort at home. This meant that my husband couldn't get out and do the side hustle as much. We eventually lost the house because we got behind on payments. Things happen in life and we have no control over them. When we lost our house, everybody else had moved out and it was just me and him. So, it wasn't a terrible loss for everybody, but it did happen, and we were able to go. And at that time, the daughter that had lived with us, we were able to go and stay with her temporarily until we were able to move up here. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go into all the details. Let me tell you that the government assistance isn't designed to carry you long term, although there are some generational families that have been on the government assistance program throughout all of their lives. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. We've always been independent and never wanted to ask for government assistance for anything. And for one, they literally know all about your finances, tell you what you qualify for and what you have to get rid of in order to qualify. At the time, I had applied for Social Security disability. That was a nightmare in itself, and it was very stressful to try to get help when you're already feeling like death at the door. It took 5 years to get that started, and only after we went to Social Security court and had a lawyer involved, which was a whole nother issue. It's not what most people believe, and I ended up getting SSI instead of the full disability, and then that was a constant barrage of refiles, more income information, more of what is allowed, what you're allowed to own, what you're not allowed to own. You do not want the government in your personal business. We literally pulled ourselves up by the bootstraps. The government is soulless, meaning it has no emotional or human element other than the employees, and really could care less about your personal situation. It was meant as a temporary help, kind of like unemployment benefits. Not enough really to live off of, and you soon find your independence is now dependence on the government handouts. You become a slave to the system, and I use the term slave because your life is no longer your own. The government regulations now rule your life, and the government keeps changing the goalpost. In other words, they change the regulations all the time. So, how do you survive all of this? We look closely at our bills, our credit reports, our housing, our vehicle, etc. What we did really own, what we owed, and how we could adjust our situation ourselves. It's easy to go to a check cashing place and get that fast cash in your hand to cover bills. But you get a snowball effect because you get caught up in their high interest rates and loan and payments. So you go in, you get the check initially, you're going to pay it back with your next paycheck. You go in there with your next paycheck, you got a stack of bills waiting, and so you write out another one. And it just goes on and on and on. And so they're making money off of you not having money. Believe it or not, that is the whole of that. So you want to stay away from those places. We pulled ourselves up by the bootstraps. We knew the cavalry wasn't coming to help us. We couldn't depend on other family members or put stress on them if we could help it. And we knew most of them couldn't help us because they were struggling at the time too. We inventoried our resources, we budgeted, and we planned our meals, and we continued to live our lives with a limited to no income as best we could. How do you stop the bleeding? If your income drops below 50%, your first job is cash preservation. Immediately, you want to pause all subscriptions, streaming boxes, cable, memberships, magazines, things like that. Stop eating out completely because that is a big expense. Freeze all non-essential spending. In other words, You're not going to go to the store and buy a pack of cigarettes or a pack of gum if you don't have toilet paper in the house. Necessary spending would be toilet paper, not cigarettes and gum. Um, you're going to delay all non-urgent purchases. Maybe your socks are getting worn thin and they are starting to get a hole in them. But you don't need a new pack of socks. You need to learn how to mend those socks that you already own. You can't fix what you don't stop. Bottom line. We're going to get into the housing. Refinance or renegotiate if possible. Consider renting space in your home out. We couldn't do that because we had people in our home already. Downsize if absolutely necessary as a last resort. In other words, sell off everything in your house if you have to. Transportation would be combining trips, doing those carpools. My husband and my daughter and her friend that worked with him, they carpooled to work every day. Reshop auto insurance. And a matter of fact, I would say reshop that every year because the rates change and you might get a better deal. Pause unnecessary travel. Don't plan a vacation if you don't have any income. Utilities. Most houses today don't have clotheslines, but I would invest in a clothesline, whether indoors or outdoors, to hang my clothes and dry them. Put plastic over your windows and put curtains on those windows to keep the draft out, winter and summer. It really does make a difference in your utility bill. Lower the thermostat 2 to 3 degrees in the winter. Raise it in the summer. Unplug the phantom loads like, the appliances, kitchen appliances, your coffee maker, things like that, microwave, things like that. You can unplug them. Only plug them in when you're using them. Chargers for your phone also. So you want to do those things. Food. Eat from your pantry and freezer first. Make sure you've got a 3-month to a 2-year stockpile of groceries in your house to begin with. You can build that up over time. Shift to scratch cooking only. No convenience foods. No boxed foods, y'all. Those boxed meals, you don't want those. They're full of garbage anyway. Bulk cook and stretch those proteins. One of the boxed meals that we bought because we had coupons, we would get them for free because we would stack coupons, was the rice-a-roni. And so I would make a stir fry with that. I would use ground turkey because it was so much cheaper. I think we were getting it 99 cents a pound at the time. The little box of rice-a-roni was somewhere around 69 or 79 cents a box. And I would buy a couple of cans of mixed vegetables, which was 2 or 3 for $1 back then. And I would make a stir fry with this, and it would feed all 10 of us and still have food left over. No convenience foods. Period. You want to get rid of those convenience foods. And you want to do 2 meatless meals a week. In other words, it's all vegetables. And grow a garden. We were growing a garden, so we were doing really good. Replace your spending with production. Instead of buying, you can make bread. You can make yogurt. You can grow your own vegetables. You can preserve and sell produce. You can make your own cleaning products. You can repair instead of replacing. You can learn basic sewing and mending skills. Shift from the consumer to the producer. Lower your monthly need number. Strip life down to shelter, utilities. Think of ways you can have power without the utility company. Solar, those little solar lights you put out in your yard, you can bring them in at night and have light. Or you can use lanterns, you can use candles, any way that you can cut that utility bill down. Use your basic foods. You want a protein source, you want a grain source, you want your butter, your fats, milk and dairy, your vegetables. That's what you're looking for, your legumes, things like that, basics. Transportation to work. Find a buddy and go to work. You might use the local bus system and save money, and only use your car to do errands on the weekends, like going to the grocery store. Insurance. Again, negotiate your insurance. And for a Christian, tithing is a must, and tithing is actually the least expense that I ever have, 10% of your paycheck. So you tithe what you have. And if you don't have anything, you don't tithe. Um, but you can tithe time in place of money. Everything else becomes optional. I'm going to read out of 1 Timothy 6:8. And having food and raiment, let us therewith be content. Be content with what you have. And then I'm going to flip back because I missed the scripture I was going to read to Proverbs 21:20. So let me find that real quick. There is treasure to be desired, and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it all up. Don't waste your resources, y'all. That's out of the King James Version. Increase your income with creativity without aid. Without depending on agencies, you can sell your excess eggs if you have chickens. We had chickens. Garden vegetables. We had excess garden vegetables. We could have easily sold those. Baked goods, if you know how to bake. It could be bread, it could be cakes, it could be pies, it could be cookies, anything like that. And get you a client list and go to baking. Handmade crafts. Other side skills like tutoring or giving lessons. And flip items locally. Sometimes survival isn't just cutting, it's creating. Build a lean living plan before you need it. Practice one no spend week per month. Build your pantry 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. Pay off small debts aggressively. Keep 1 month of money set aside for expenses as a reserve on hand. And if you can, go further out. 6 months would be optimal. Preparation reduces panic. The mental shift. Living without assistance isn't about pride, it's about stewardship, responsibility, peace of mind, and not building dependency, but being independent. There's no shame in needing help, but there is wisdom in preparing so that you might not have to need that help. If your income is cut in half tomorrow, what could you eliminate within the first 24 hours? Our first bill was cutting the cable TV. We are on analog and antenna TV, and we never went back to cable. Our live stream this week is a personal battle that I've had with the Social Security Administration. You can't miss this one because, y'all, it could be you. It will be Thursday at 11 a.m. You'll find me on YouTube Monday and Friday with long form videos. Tuesday is podcast day. The third Thursday of every month is our live stream. Look for shorts and posts on my community tab. And for my loyal channel friends, I've cut out the watch later list as I just can't keep up with watching everyone and commenting on every video that I watch. So my list was over 500 videos and I was so far behind. So I will not be viewing and commenting as often, but instead, I've created a Friend of the Homestead playlist. And if you find your channel on there, you are one of my loyal supporters. And I think your content is pretty awesome. It's my way of supporting you by offering my viewers an opportunity to get to know your channel and hopefully building your community without being pushy. On top of this, I'm highlighting channels Monday through Friday on my community tab. Y'all need to go over there and check out these awesome channels. If I highlight your video, I really liked it, and I want my viewers to know that I trust your content. Channel members are getting more personal exposure too. I will be highlighting them throughout the month on my community tab and announcing each one of those in my live stream. I'm getting away from the trap I was feeling the need to watch everyone and every single video that you put out. It's unrealistic, and it felt more like a job and a burden than the natural joy of picking and choosing who to watch and what to watch. While I appreciate everyone who comes and supports my channel, I knew the day would come that I would not be able to keep up. I'm still supporting some great channels, and you'll see me pop up on your channel occasionally. Watch the entire video and leave a comment. I may even share you out or hype you. I have 2 special channel friends that I do shout outs daily for. They have become my support team for me, and I hope that my support is there for them as well. We bounce ideas off of each other. We can come to each other with personal life crisis. We can pray for one another without worry of it leaking out. So that is extremely important to me. Channel members also will get a few channel member only shorts, content, and community tab posts. I post special things for them, and I want them to be the first in the know on some things, some background stuff, etc. For everyone, my weekly videos, podcast, and lives and community tab updates, shorts, all of those are the way that I stay true to my channel and purpose and my way of reaching out to you. Your views, your comments, your likes, your shares, your hypes are so important to keeping my channel up and going, and it keeps me working to bring better content to you. There's a lot of work in the background that goes on that y'all will never see. All of this has brought me to becoming the Resourceful Homestead, a series I hope that everyone is enjoying this year. No more shallow videos, but well thought out topics that we are working on here at home, building a homestead that we can handle in our golden years, filled with faith, self-reliance, and a whole lot of grit. We are becoming less consumerism and more about scratch cooking, DIY projects, and hopefully making our life simple, intentional, and frugal. I hope that you come along for the ride. If you are enjoying the Homestead Happening podcast, let me know in the comments. Have you ever found yourself financially drained? What was the first thing you did to recover? Let me know in the comments. Thank you again, my friends, for coming along with me on another episode of Homestead Happenings. Be blessed and a blessing. Here's some content I think you might like. Thank you for visiting our homestead. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hype, and share to help our small channel grow. See you next time for more simple living, frugal tips, and farmyard fun.